All right, so in this section, we are going to be talking about strategies for recording and tracking where students are with the learning targets. So our focus is going to be on keeping track. This is oftentimes where we fall short, at least I know I did, and as I work with various teachers, it's often what they struggle with. Teachers are great about observing, working with students in small groups, whole group discussions, one-on-one interviews, but oftentimes they just don't find a system in which they can record and keep track of progress towards these learning targets. So this is going to focus on using efficient and effective methods for documenting and keeping track of where students are and moving toward those learning targets. So just a reminder that it's going to be very important that you're clear on what these targets are. So a few strategies for keeping track of what students know and don't yet know. These are just a few ideas that you can adjust, tweak, make work for you. I feel like these will just plant some seeds for getting you to think about what you have access to and kind of how you like to keep track. So let's take a look. One technique that I've used and other teachers have latched onto is the clipboard and layered index cards. So what this looks like is basically layered taped cards on a clipboard, and names are listed on the bottom. And so as you record and observe and have conversations and students work on various activities, you can take some anecdotal notes of progress, where they're having areas of misconceptions or misunderstandings. And what's really nice is you can write on the front and backs of these cards. It's very easy to pull these off when one is full and put it into the student's file. And then as you are preparing to make instructional decisions and report to parents, you have some good information that you can look back at. Another flexible strategy is using mailing labels, sticky mailing labels, or just post-it sticky notes. We're going to take a look at this short video by Vicki Gibson as she explains how to use these to efficiently record information. So let's take a look.
Now, Vicki, teachers report they don't have time to do it, but really they are observing and monitoring all the time in a teaching situation. Isn't that right?
That's right. They naturally collect data. As we teach, we are always observing, we're watching students, listening to their responses, but it is not our habit to write down what we see. We just think we'll remember it.
Is it necessary for teachers to write down everything?
Yes, because we have so much going on. We won't remember some of these specific data points that will really help us make decisions about grouping or teaching or selecting materials or monitoring their progress. There's an easy way to chart these observations when we're working with students, especially in small group. You just keep a clipboard with mailing labels, and you put the date of your observation and the student's name or initials on the label, and you just make a positively stated comment about what you see. These suggestions will help you focus your observations and record your comments. Write the purpose of your observation on the first mailing label. That will keep you focused and tell you what to look for that day. Then determine which students will be observed and print their name, one on each label, and then add the date of your observation. Then write your comment on each label about what you see or you hear that you want to remember that will inform your teaching or your selection of practice activities. Then later, when you have time, you will peel off individual labels and stick them on a piece of copy paper that's kept in the student's mailbox or portfolio. And we'll use those mailing label comments to then group students for instruction, plan teaching, plan practice activities, or monitor students' progress.
What are the advantages of informal assessments for teachers and students?
Using the mailing labels to collect informal assessment data is wonderful for teachers, but it's also wonderful for students.
Hopefully, through Vicky's explanation, you have an understanding of how sticky notes and mailing labels could work. In the past, I've also printed via technology tools such as Word or Google Docs or Sheets actual labels so that the information of what I'm assessing is automatically on there and students' names are listed on each post-it note. So that is one method as well. Hopefully that gave you some good ideas. So now I want to direct you towards something we use in our district in Billings Public Schools. And one of the things we did is, as a team of third grade teachers in this case, along with myself, we went ahead and actually developed rubrics that were connected with specific Common Core standards. And so what's interesting here is the process of doing this was so powerful for all of us. But as you can see, a standard has many specific skills and targets within it. And so what we really did was thought about the specific skills within this standard, in this case, basically understanding a fraction as unit fractions, 1 over b. And by doing this, we then discussed what we would consider full mastery, partial, and minimal. This was something teachers in our district really wanted, not to be heavy-handed, but really so that as a district of, in this case, 22 elementary schools, we would try to be consistent on making decisions about what a 3, 2, and 1 looked like. And so teachers have really found this helpful and improved their efficiency of providing information to students and parents. So as you can see, these rubrics break down the standard into specific skills and what that looks like, specific targets. So here we can see that then the recording sheets that we created were basically connected. So here you'll see just the standard listed, but teachers then refer to the rubrics and they can put specific notes about learning targets, dates, misconceptions, information that will be helpful to move them forward instructionally for students. Another method that is known as the grid system, also known as a calendar grid, this is just another way to record information about the entire class on one sheet. For me, this was really helpful. At a glance, I could see where students were in a specific learning target, and then differentiate accordingly in small groups, deciding on specific warm-up questions to address common misconceptions, and so forth. So here is just an example, and what you can see here is the target can be listed at the top. Teachers have specific systems, so maybe they use checks, pluses, minuses, 3, 2, 1s, dates, little notes that they will specifically be able to understand and take a glance at. So what you'll want to do is come up with some efficient coding systems, if you will, in which when you're taking notes and recording, it's very quick and easy for you, but informational. And so here is just one kindergarten teacher's observations using a grid system. This is more of a record-keeping system, and here you only see 5 students listed in the left of the page. Each column is a specific goal. Okay, so goal A, B, C, D, and E. Each column contains student formative and summative scores. So as you look in one square cell, if you will, the left column is formative and the right column are summatives. The summative is placed in the box. And a score that is circled is one that was not done with all students, but rather in this case was a result of a student conversation during an activity. So what I like about this approach is you can organize specific types of assessments and scorings in different columns, if you will. And then as you make decisions about where they are in their learning at this point in time, you can indicate that in the box. So once again, 5 students per page, so you would have several pages. But I think this could be a really helpful method for recording for specific goals. Now, those goals, be it A, B, C, D, and E, would be identified on another page so that you're clear on what you're taking a look at. But keep in mind that oftentimes our targets and goals are very specific and can encompass a whole quarter, if you will. When we think about math, we might be working on unit fractions and comparing fractions within a whole quarter, for example. So what I like about this is there's room for writing scores, there's room for taking notes if you so choose, but I like how specific goals are identified at the top, and student names and information are very easy to see and record. So oftentimes, as a classroom teacher, I would take photos and capture little video clips, collecting what students know via technology. So often as they're explaining their thinking or showing their center work with manipulatives, you can really see a lot about where students are in those targets. There are lots of ways to collect data and record data. But as I think about these three areas, 3Ring, Evernote, and Seesaw, these are really good portfolio tools, if you will, where you can capture student thinking and pictures and video using Seesaw and 3Ring. Evernote is a tool I haven't used in a while, but I know that it's very easy to capture images and video and put those into documents, if you will. But 3Ring and Seesaw are a couple tools that our teachers are using within our district, and it really is a means for collecting observations and information about students, and so powerful as we see what they've done or we hear what they've done through screencasts or videos. So just wanted to point that out, that was another good option as well. So hopefully what you've seen here just has provided some means for thinking about various ways to record and keep track.